zoning and building meeting. We are going to learn so much today with our professionals from the county. Very few times do you see all three come together in one meeting, so that's really great. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and to announce the special guests that are here today, the people who will not be speaking, just they are here present and they come to visit our meeting and to speak to all of you individually. That will be our Executive Vice President, Arnie Katz, okay, to announce the guests and greet the guests.
Good morning and welcome, everybody. These guests are joining us today. Let's welcome them. Colleen Reimer from the Clerk's Office. Lauren Klemowich from the Supervisor of Elections Office. Ed Saul from Commissioner Maria Sachs' office. Victoria Green from the Palm Beach County Tax Collector's Office. Lucia Bonavita from Palm Beach County Planning and Zoning. Miles Osborne, Lake Worth Drainage District. Hilda Ojeda from Palm Beach County Property Appraiser's Office. Mark Freeman, State Attorney's Office. Evelyn DePlacy, aide to Senator Berman. Lieutenant John Wink, PBSO. Christian Wright, Commissioner Marcy Woodward's office. Leslie Schreiber, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Chris Keene, Major, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Thanks all for being here.
Just a few announcements. The dues is coming in great. We're getting all the updated community information forms. Remember to check to see that your community has paid, so you can definitely attend the wonderful, delicious June breakfast that we'll have on Friday, June 6th at a local country club. I wonder which one that is. And that will be good. You'll be getting invitations for that. We have just two very important call to actions this month. And we did put it on the internet. We sent it out by email. There was a House bill and a Senate bill. That is a big problem, and we need to tell our representatives about that because it takes away the ability of local governments to have planning and zoning of where certain homes should be, they're like sober homes or addiction recovery residences. And they can't limit them in distance. So there could be clusters of them in streets and all, and that would limit municipalities from actually being able to make rules about that a certain distance apart. Because really these addiction recovery residences should be intermingled within the community, but really not make a whole lot next to each other, and that's what one of the bills is. Takes away our home rule, basically, and we don't really like that too much. We like to make our rules ourselves and be able to communicate right with our own municipal elected officials about that. The other thing, of course, is the ongoing tax collector issue. The tax collector postponed the application to put that tax collection agency and driver's course on a parcel on Lyons Road in the Agricultural Reserve. It's been postponed to May 1st. We have an ad hoc committee. I am not on it because I am on the zoning commission, and I'll have to be voting on that if it does come up in front of the zoning commission, unless it's withdrawn before. So we have an ad hoc committee, and it's York Front right here. Raise your hand. Jack Kay, who's been very, very active, doing a whole lot, even though he is in Asia right now, but will be back in 2 days. And then we have our Rob Kuskaden, our other member of our board. You can raise your hand, Rob, there. Good. So we have people from both sides of the turnpike working on this. And also, there's been a coalition formed on Lyons Road of at least 7 communities. They're getting even more communities north of Atlantic, coming from Boynton Beach even, because that whole corridor will be affected. And they started this coalition, and they have already over 2,500 signatures. And they've rented buses to go up there. They were going to go up April 3rd because it was going to be heard by the Zoning Commission April 3rd, and now it will be heard on May 1st, unless it is withdrawn ahead of time. And the problem, of course, that they cite with the application is the fact that it would be the first building site in all of the Ag Reserve that didn't have to abide by any setbacks or any square footage of land used for buildings and structures. So that's one of the issues, plus of course the traffic is the issue with our residents who've already just had a really tough time on Lyons Road for years that was being widened and now is widened. So those are the 2 big things, and read all about it in our newsletter, which comes on email, but you also get a hard copy when you are the president, delegate, or alternate. Okay, we've got a good lineup today. We're going to hear from our first responders, and then we have Karen Brill here. Nice to see you. She's giving us a little update from the school board. Captain Morales, can you provide us with an update from District 4? Good to see you today.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? My goal when I do these updates is for nobody in the audience to say, I can't hear you. So, we're off to a good start? Okay. So I wanted to thank everybody that attended. Last month we had our safety and security meeting here in this building. It was a very good event. We had received some valuable feedback. I thought it was impactful for the community, so I wanted to thank everybody that came out to that. Also want to recognize a couple of people in the room because I'm the one that comes up here and gives the updates every month, but really when we get back to the office, all the things that occur internally within the Sheriff's Office, it's really a team effort. So we have Major Keene that's back there. I want to recognize him. Lieutenant Link, who's my right-hand man. Deputy Holzman from Kings Point is here. And Leslie Schreiberger from County Sheriff's Office. So thank you guys. It's really truly a team effort on a day-to-day basis. So today's topic, practice patience, right? Everybody's talking about traffic. I experience it every day on the way to work. I shared this story yesterday at a Kings Point meet and greet that we had. And I live in Wellington, so every time I leave to work, I plug in the address to the Sheriff's Office to see which is the best route here. So yesterday, I punched it in and all these red lines showed up, right? Does everybody know what the red lines are? A lot of traffic. I asked Siri, which way is the best way to work today? She says, turn around, don't even go in. So, anyway, practice patience, right? So I got some stats here to share with you all. Year to date, we're 3 months in, almost 4. Here are the stats for traffic crashes. So Atlantic and Jog, we've had 29 so far. Yep. Atlantic and Lyons, we've had 13. In Atlantic and Hagen Range, we've had 12. All right, those are the ones that have been reported. So the takeaway from that is stay off Atlantic, right? Okay. Yeah, so practice patience. I got another story to share. My daughter just turned 15. She got her permit, right? Oh yeah, tell me about it. You see the gray hair coming in? So last month I took her to a parking lot to go drive, just to practice. Nobody was in there. Put up some cones, and it went horribly. She hit every cone. She was not prepared. So I told my wife we're going to buy those driving lessons. Let somebody else do it. I can't handle this right now. So she went and took her to get her permit Monday, and I called at lunchtime and I said, how's it going? She goes, it's going great. We went to play pickleball, and Sienna, which is my daughter, she drove us there and back. And this is like within traffic, it was like a 2-mile drive. I said, what? There's no way she would drive there. It's not safe. And my son, who's 13, was in the back seat. So when I got home, I said, I want the real story, because she's telling me it went great. And it went bad. Like, she was driving, and there was people tailgating her, honking the horn, really just not practicing patience. Well, that's the message here today. So please, the traffic is bad, we all know that, especially this time of year. So practice patience, give yourself some time to get to an appointment. Leave earlier if you have to. You never know who's on the other side of the steering wheel. Could be an elderly driver, could be somebody that's abiding by the speed limit, could be a new driver. You never know. So practice patience. That's the message today. Thank you. I know some of you are leaving for the summer. Some are staying. So if you're leaving, safe travels. If you're staying, we'll see you next month, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a funny scam story. It'll just take 30 seconds. It happened yesterday. I got a phone call. This is Florida Power and Light. We're here to switch out your electric meter. I said, you've got to be kidding, and I hung up the phone. A minute later, they were at my house switching out the electric meter. It wasn't a scam, but that's not always the truth. They noticed from FP&L that we weren't using enough electricity. The meter, it was out of kilter. The meter was bad, so they switched it out. But boy, I thought that was a scam. I thought they'd start asking me my social security number and everything. Well, okay, we've got, now, Chief Bill Stansberry never lets us down. We always get a report, even if it's Tony Keeler that comes. Also, he always comes to our meetings, but sometimes if Chief Stansberry doesn't give it, then Tony Keeler gives it. But now Tony Keeler is at a meeting, so right now we've got the first vice president of the professional firefighters of Palm Beach County, Mike O'Brien, and he's going to be giving a Battalion 4 update. Thank you for coming.
Hello, everybody. Mike O'Brien, First Legislative Vice President with Local 2928, Professional Firefighters of Palm Beach County. We represent over 2,400 local. Sorry about that. Obviously not as loud as the cops, but normally I'm the man behind the scenes, and Tony Keeler and Chief get up here and do their thing, so bear with me. We represent over 2,400 local firemen in the local area. I'm here today on behalf of Chief Bill Stansberry, who had a mandatory district chief meeting. Chief Stansberry asked me to share a few important updates with you in regards to Battalion 4. Battalion 4 continues to be the busiest of all our battalions, responding to nearly 3,500 calls per month. Within that, Station 45 stood out as the busiest station in the county last month, with close to 700 calls for the month. The brave and dedicated men and women of Palm Beach County Fire Rescue proudly and professionally handled the highest call volume in the entire department in this battalion, ensuring the safety and well-being of our community every day. With hurricane season beginning in June, we strongly encourage everyone to begin preparing and gathering necessary supplies now. Finally, the new construction of Station 49 is progressing well and is expected to be completed in the next coming months. Thank you for your continued support and opportunity to share this update. We appreciate everything the Alliance does to keep our community strong and informed.
Thank you. Thank you for attending. Yes. One thing about next month, our May meeting, it's the last meeting of the fiscal year before the June breakfast, but then we're also having a July meeting. We're going to be celebrating July 4th. But next month it's going to be all about hurricane season, which is great. We haven't had the Emergency Operations Center director here in years, and she's coming, Mary Blakeney. So she'll be here, which will be great, and we will probably have representatives from Lake Ridge Drainage District, probably. We're just firming that up today. And then we're going to have a little bit of another thing, of animal care and control. They'll just let you know where to bring your pets for the shelters. And that's all about hurricanes next month. We have our elected official, Karen Brill, from the school board. Good to see you. Are you still chair? Still chair of the school board.
So Thank you, Dr. Vinicor. So I just want to tell you, I wasn't sure that I'd be able to get here today, but I wanted to make sure that I did because I know how much you all care about education. And the reason I wasn't sure I would get here is that I have to run out after this. I am chairing my second impasse hearing. What's an impasse hearing? That's when the union, one of our unions, and the school district can't come to terms on something. And so today, it's SEIU, it's the Public Service Union, it's our maintenance workers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers. They do not feel it's fair for them to have to pay the same amount for health care that our other unions are paying. So what they did is both parties agree that the 7-member school board is going to decide what to do. And I will tell you that regardless of what the decision is, because we have to be open-minded, I think the school district made a mistake years ago when they became self-insured, because we charge every employee the same amount. So a bus driver or a food service worker that's making $24,000 a year pays the same amount for health care that someone making $150,000. Or the superintendent making $300,000 pays. So it's going to be a big overhaul, but I am going to suggest that we look at that going forward. We can't do anything this year, but it really isn't fair, so we know that. A couple updates quick, because you have an important program. This past month, we honored our distinguished graduate, our distinguished alumni, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, who graduated from Lake Worth High School. And he was just so wonderful in his acceptance speech, also explaining that when it comes to ICE, he explained that we're not going into the schools and doing sweeps. We're only going to be looking for people who committed crimes. And that made the people there feel so good. But the other honoree was our partner, our community partner, PBSO, for all that they do for our community. So let's give them all a big round of applause. What you may not know is they bring backpacks out to the Glades. They're mentors to our students. When we have a problem, they come running. But we appreciate all of you every single day because you keep our children safe and you also are fantastic role models for them. So thank you. And then a quick legislative update. So our big issue was the early start times. Last year, the legislature decided, and it sounds good, it's one of those things that looks good on paper, that high school students should start later because they need more sleep. Now, as a mom, I know that if my kids were starting an hour and a half later for high school, they're not going to bed earlier. No. You know that. They're not going to bed. They're staying up and partying later. But forget all of that. We had to go and we surveyed everybody, and 75% did not want the change. Also think of this, many of you are from the north, right? We only had 10 schools in our district. We have 186 schools here. So, and then transporting them all that distance, it becomes impossible. And how many high school students take care of their siblings? So the legislature, we were hoping for repeal. We're not going to get repeal. What's probably going to happen is we have to prove that we tried to see how to do it. And because our constituents don't want it, we should be able to stay the way we are. And finally, people are asking me what's happening if they get rid of, which they are, the Department of Education in Washington. So looking around this room, I know all of you are like me. I grew up without a Department of Education. It only came into play in 1980. So my hope is that as long as the funds come to us, right now they're saying Title I funds for our lowest income students, the funds for our students with disabilities, as long as those come down to us and we continue to get the funding, I believe we will be fine. There's going to be huge gaps though. Right now we're looking at the budget from Tallahassee. It's not a pretty picture, but what I will tell you is your school board, I am very fortunate. We remain A-rated, committed to our students, committed to our employees. We will find a way to get it done. So just keep your eyes out for us and know that your school board will never ban a book. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for attending. You're a busy woman. Okay, well, we're going to start our meeting in just 2 minutes because we had these nice bagels and cream cheese and all that came from the local bagel shop. And we got, that's way beyond bagels, right?
Yeah.
Way beyond bagels. So speaking and giving us a little commercial about his senior helpers. Thank you for sponsoring today's breakfast. We've got Michael Mall from Senior Helpers.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you to the Alliance of Delray and to all the first responders who do an amazing job every day, every night. My name again is Michael Mole. I am the owner of Senior Helpers. My wife and I started this company 17 years ago. We are an agency that has nurse oversight. We have built a program that does concierge program inside of communities where we break care down to 15-minute incremental pop-in visits, all the way up to 24/7. Everything is has a nurse oversight, and everything that we do is employee-based. No independent contractors, so that you know that whoever you have is fully vetted. And that's about it. I wish you all a great summer as the heat starts coming up, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your sponsorship. Well, to the meeting, you saw it on our Alliance newsletter here. We've got 3 terrific speakers today. The first one is Jeremy Dennis for Contractor Regulations. We're going to hear from Jeremy Dennis, okay, from Palm Beach County and Planning, Zoning and Building, and you are from the, Contractor Regulations, right.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us. Great crowd. So, like you heard, I'm Jeremy Dennis. I'm the Senior Field Investigator with Palm Beach County's Contractor Regulations. And I'm going to provide a little bit of education about what it is that we do. So, that's me. And we regulate local contractors through a certification program, countywide, including municipalities. We ensure through our certification process, contractors have the technical skills and business stability to perform their work. We monitor, investigate, and prosecute unlawful activities to minimize the impacts on residents and the industry professionals. We partner with city, state, and law enforcement officials. So the contractor requirements and what is required to become a county licensed contractor. We provide a background investigation, and that includes criminal as well as credit check. We have proper insurance, including liability and workers' compensation, to make sure that those contractors are licensed and insured when you hire them. And as well as a competency, business, and trades test of those contractors. And as well as number of years in which those contractors work before they apply. So the Construction Industry Licensing Board, so they have to approve to make sure that this is a legitimate contractor before they start offering services out to the public. It's a rigorous process, but it's designed to keep you all safe. Unlicensed contractor potential risks. Paying for work twice. Nobody wants to do that. Delays selling a property. Unsafe, poor workmanship, not meeting building codes. Code compliance actions with daily fines. And homeowner liability. Get your money protected. Every year we assist our residents in preventing thousands of would-be losses. Here are some of the red flags. A person or a company may not be certified. Falsely using their business tax receipt as their license. We see this unfortunately quite often. A business tax receipt is not a license for a contractor to be working in construction. Contractor would prefer to work on the weekends or after hours. Requests a large down payment before work begins. Verbal contracts only. Oh, that's, if I could put multiple red flags on that one, certainly. Get the work in writing. unable to provide a certificate of insurance, advertisements without the contractor license number. If they went through all that rigorous process of becoming licensed, they should be proud of having a contractor license number and put that on all their advertisements. And also, someone other than the contractor pulling the permits for them, major red flag. Unfortunately, we see what's called aiding and abetting or aiding and assisting, where there would be a licensed contractor pulling the permit for an unlicensed contractor. So if you happen to notice somebody's doing that, that's a red flag. And also, statements such as, it will be cheaper if you obtain your own permit. The contractor knows what's required, and they are the ones that will be on the hook for pulling the permit and the inspection process. Here are some photos of a condominium that involved some work that was done, unfortunately, by an unlicensed contractor. And this is a municipality that the condo resided along the coast. So this was a very wealthy condo. It had many different security measures, including a security guard, a guard gate, magnetic locking doors. But unfortunately, this really didn't help in this victim's case. The unlicensed contractor befriended an association president, started doing work, unlicensed, unpermitted, and then convinced the association president that if they only had a little bit more money and another customer, then they'll be able to finish the rest of the work. So as you can see, it led to a bit of a Ponzi scheme where the second customer was convinced of the same thing and befriended another neighbor of theirs. So we had 3 units in the same condo building where this unlicensed contractor took advantage of 3 neighbors doing this work. And fortunately, we got many fines on them, and we also got the state licensed contractor referred to DBPR for aiding and abetting this unlicensed contractor. So don't let this happen to you. Beware of false advertisements. Don't take a license number for granted. Confirm it. Don't be fooled by licensed and insured. And it just says that only. It's very ambiguous. Look for that license number. All advertisements must reference their license number. So here's a couple of advertisements. One's a billboard, one's from a flyer, a business card, and the licensed trades that are advertising there should correspond with whatever contractor license that they have. And just like right here, this is a caption of our database that we have on our website that's available to the public. You can plug in either, as you see, a certification number that you may see on their ad or should see, the contractor's name or company name, and you'll be able to pull up the information on that contractor to confirm that they are licensed, they are who they say they are or work for, and be able to validate that they have an active license and that their insurances are up to date and current. These are just 2 past examples. As you can tell, the green is good, they're active, their insurances are up to date, and the red expired, not good. And if you have any questions on how to maneuver this database, give us a call. There's our phone number right there, and I do encourage pamphlets. We have them over at the booth right here. If you have any questions, business cards are there as well. So please take a brochure. And from this point, I'd like to welcome Michelle. She'll talk to you a little bit about code enforcement, code compliance.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing us here to present this important information. My name is Michelle Malcolm Daniels. I'm a supervisor with Palm Beach County Code Compliance. So I'm here to discuss some photographs with you on code compliance and discuss the process. So what do? We investigate and enforce civil violations in unincorporated Palm Beach County. What does that mean? It means we enforce unlawful land use, fire prevention. We work closely with the fire department. We enforce housing and property maintenance codes and building codes. So some common violations that we do encounter is in the upper top left, you have a shower, bathroom, and you see some damage on the ceiling. That was as a result of a faulty water heater in the unit above. So what you have issues in your unit can affect other units surrounding you. The picture to the right is outdoor storage that is in front of someone's front yard. You can't have that. The bottom one on the left is going to be an RV, and apparently people were living inside there. You can't have that in the community. Over to the right, we have a canopy, and you need to have permits for that, because that's actually can pick up in a wind gust and cause damage or harm to someone else or property. So here's an unlicensed vehicle. You got to make sure all your vehicles are registered on the road. So here are some unpermitted renovations that we encounter. The one on the left was installed, impact windows installed without a permit. You need to make sure you follow the process with the building department so that you do have the proper screws and items that are supposed to be fastened for safety when it comes to impact windows. The one on the right we're looking at is something when removed a load-bearing wall, and this was done by an unlicensed contractor. So you're going to encounter that when people aren't sure what they're doing and you're just using a handyman. So make sure whenever you're having any renovations that you are using a licensed contractor. They get the proper permits and you have the proper securities with that. Here's some more exterior structures in disrepair. You have a house, has some damage in the front. The one on the right has roof damage, so you want to make sure, again, you get permits and have a licensed contractor do your repairs. This has a cracked concrete. Seems to be a second story railing, so you want to make sure that structure is sound. Over here is what we would consider a life safety after the building department determines it to be. And the homeowner, this is an actual case, the homeowner came home after working all day and they discovered HOA had removed their screening on their patio, exposing the whole balcony. So the building department determined it to be a life safety. So everything, and that was done by a handyman. So you got to make sure everything is done with permits and done the right way for your safety as well as anyone else's. So what do we want? We want compliance is the goal. We work with you to come into compliance. We don't stop at enforcement. We work with you. We communicate. That's really big for us. And we come up with some type of game plan that determines on what the violations are until compliance is achieved. You know, responsible homeownership builds good neighborhoods and raises property values. So here's contact information on how to file a complaint. You can call our number at 233-5500. You can email us at pzbcode@ppc.gov, or you can send an email to Code Compliance. Or come into Vista Center. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And next, I'd like to introduce Mike Gogler from the Building Department.
Thank you, Miss. Morning, everybody. Morning. Thank you guys for having us today. We love coming out and doing outreaches. You know, working with your communities is one of our most important factors of our jobs. So, my name is Michael Gogger. I'm the Deputy Building Director for the Palm Beach County Building Division. That encompasses all of unincorporated Palm Beach County only. So, if you're in the city of Delray Beach, the city of Boynton Beach, you know, you have a different building division. here we go. The building division is responsible for ensuring your property and your life safety. How we do that is we receive permits, applications, we review the applications, we send those construction documents through plan review, we make sure everything is meeting the minimum code requirements. Again, I want to focus on the key word of minimum code requirements. We get a lot of phone calls coming in from consumers asking about, hey, my contractor didn't paint my house the color I wanted. Folks, that's not the job we're supposed to be doing here. We're making sure that you guys are safe. So we're making sure that everything's going to stay up and stay strong for you guys. So this is how we enforce the building codes. Code development and education, we're always learning. And that sign-in sheet that went around, has everybody signed in here already? We do appreciate you. That works towards the BSEGS, which is the Building Code Effectiveness Grading Schedule. Every 3 years, we have a third-party industry that comes in and reviews what the building division does, and that helps reduce and lower the insurance rates for homeowners in Palm Beach County. Here's some facts, some figures from last year. If you guys have called up at the building division and you've had a long wait, well, this is the reason why. We've had over 214,000 inspections that we performed. That's roughly 800 to 900 inspections per day. That's a lot. We are a monster of a building division. Last year we did 73,000 permits that were issued. In total construction cost, we did $2.4 billion with a B. That's huge. And 150,000 plans we reviewed. So some of the permit procedures, always ask. If you guys are unaware, if you're unsure, if something requires a permit, we want you to call the building division. Ask. You're not bothering us, you're helping us. Because if you're doing work without a permit, it can cost you more. So permits such as electrical, mechanical, if you're getting your ACs done, structural, windows, doors, plumbing work, water heaters, that all requires permitting. So follow up, make sure that you're getting permits when they're needed. All your permits that are applied for, if you have a permit, they're going to require an inspection. So make sure your contractors are licensed and doing the work that's required. Here's some popular items that are required for single-family homes. Fencing, concrete slabs, the driveways, sheds. Each geographical area kind of differs, depending on if it's multi-residential, single-family homes. Depending on the area, will depend on the permit types that are popular. Here's some popular permit types for the condos. Tub shower conversions, the interior alterations, removing that kitchen wall that Jeremy and code enforcement talked about earlier. You make sure you get the required permits for that, so you're taking out the proper wall and you're not going to affect the unit above you. We have to, unfortunately, remove everybody from the building. Here's some risks that we just talked about. If you're doing non-compliant work in one unit, it's going to affect the unit above you, below you. If you're changing out a water heater and you don't have a proper contractor doing the work, guess what? That water heater can leak. That leak can go down to the floor below you and ruin their kitchen. If you haven't hired a proper contractor that's licensed and insured, the owner, you, could be responsible for redoing that individual's house below you or above you if you remove that wall. So make sure you're hiring the proper people. Here's some projects that might not require a permit. Changing out fixtures in the same location. So a lot of people confuse that. They say, oh, I had a fan over here, but I'm going to add the fan over to the other side of the building. It's got to be in the same exact junction box. You want to make sure you're replacing it with the same voltage, the same amperage. There's so many important factors that go into that. That's why we require you, even if you're not pulling a permit for some of these jobs, you're going ahead and you're hiring a licensed contractor. One that I like to point out is the water heater. Someone says, oh, they grab one of the brochures from over on the table and say, oh, it said water heater. I could change out my water heater. Absolutely not. There's a metal thing that goes in the middle of the water heater. It's the element, the heating element. You hire a licensed professional to come out, they replace the heating element only, not the water heater, not the whole thing. Again, you would be responsible if you don't pull the proper permits and if you don't hire correct contractors. online services, we're updating those very frequently. We're trying to help out the constituents, the customers, consumers, you guys. We have permit applications and tracking on our website. If you look at the bottom, grab that website and take a picture if you need to. These are all via online. We have inspections and scheduling, so if you're curious when your inspector is going to be showing up to the job site, you can kind of catch him. It looks like an Uber app almost. You can go ahead and track him around the county while he's on duty, and you can find out exactly when he's going to show up to your job site. The remote video inspections has been a great help for the building division. We're doing about 4,000 inspections via smartphones each month. So a lot of those are doing the re-roofs. Contractor calls up, has a smartphone, inspection done. Easy as that. So we're saving time, we're saving money, we're trying to help everybody out, and we're trying to be as efficient as possible. Anybody here have a 3-story building or higher? Excellent. So Senate Bill 553.89 requires everybody with a 3-story or higher building, when their building reaches 30 years of age or more, to have a milestone inspection. That milestone inspection is either destructive or non-destructive. So the phase 1 is a visual inspection. If the architect or engineer finds anything that needs to be dived into farther, reviewed farther, you would be required to have a phase 2 milestone inspection for your building. We've done a lot so far to try to educate the public and make sure that everybody is aware of what's required. Just in unincorporated Palm Beach County, we've identified 668 buildings, and that number keeps rising. And again, that's just in unincorporated. So if you live in the city, they're responsible for their own buildings. We've done extensive outreaches. We've created websites where you can track, you can go on, you can pull up the address. So if anybody here has any questions regarding their milestone inspections, you can jump onto our website and you can see if your building has been done and completed already. On January 31st, we sent out another letter, and that went out to all the residents who are in non-compliance. And that letter basically stated that if you don't respond within 30 days, we are teaming up with code enforcement, and code enforcement is going to come out and give a notice of violation to each building. Not the residents, it's going to be the HOAs, and it's going to be to the registered agents. But when we met with the county commission, they had asked us to send a letter out to all of the residents as well. Now, those weren't certified, those were first class, so we don't know exactly who received it and who didn't, but we did receive some back, and we received several of the certified letters back. So, if you guys haven't done your milestone inspections yet, confirm with your HOA that you have, because it's extremely important that you do. With the notice of violations, once those go out, we're going to give 30 days, to go ahead and comply with what's required. If you don't comply, we're going to go ahead and have you meet with our special magistrate with the code division, code compliance, and they're going to set a date when that code compliance needs to be done. If it's not met, you guys are going to receive a fine. Some flood zone information. Palm Beach County qualifies for 25% discounts. We kicked out our new flood maps at the beginning of this year. I think Jackie Anderson, who is our floodplain manager, I think she came out and showed you guys. She gave a tutorial last month or so. So low risk does not mean it's no risk. Here's our contact info. We have an office down here in the South County as well, if you guys weren't aware. It's off of Congress Avenue. That's staffed by 4 people, 4 individuals currently. If you're not good with the internet, stop in. They'll give you a hand, they'll help you out, they'll show you what's needed, and we're here to help you guys. So we're happy to take questions now. If anybody's curious, or the young lady with the white shirt.
Yes, I have a question with regard to the milestone business. For an example, I've been living here for 26 years now. When I bought my apartment, in the specs, it said that this thing that rolls down inside was a hurricane shield. They have now changed the name to a solar shield. Now, am I grandfathered in to keep that, or can they remove it?
That's a great question, and without seeing exactly what you're speaking of, you know, it's hard to make that determination, but if you grab one of my cards, I'm happy to, you know, dive into that a little bit deeper with you and confirm exactly what you're speaking of. So, I want to make sure that you're safe.
Well, thank you very much. What we can do is, if they could come up to you now after the meeting, if you could just stick around for a few minutes, and they can ask you some questions personally, would that be okay? Thank you so much. We have right now Maria Sachs, our District 5 Commissioner. Great to see you, thank you. We'll have a District 5 update today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinegar. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Did you notice a little change in the temperature? You know what's coming down the corner. And you know who's leaving. I always say goodbye, everybody, goodbye, go back up north, because we can take the heat. You know why? Because we live in perpetual air conditioning. I know people whose cars are air conditioned in their parking garages, so they never have to step outside. But from now on, we're going to find those parking spaces at Publix. The pizza places will be available, and we're going to take our town back. We'll take our town back. Let me give you a little bit about, and we should, because we are tough enough to get through a Florida summer. And I tell you, if you can get through a Florida summer and still smile, we deserve everything that we can get. I want you to understand how much Dr. Vinegar and your team here, the board of directors, really do for you and for me. There are developers, and God bless them, I think everybody should make money, as America. But they want to take every available piece of green space and do what they want on it. And my understanding of the law is that it's up to the people as to what goes in our spaces. Okay? It's up to us. So we're fighting a couple of issues, and one of them we won, thanks to the Alliance. And because when you all get together, you see, you're like this, right? You're all different organizations. But when you get together, you become like this. And this is strength. And this makes a difference. Shadowwood has been around with us for years. I was there at the opening of Shadowwood, and my dad was still alive. Well, they're knocking it down. They're going to build something new. That's okay. It's probably good to have a refresh. But I don't know, how many of you remember a bookstore that was at Shadowwood? It was Borders, that's right. And there was a little bookstore there, and what would happen is that seniors would come in, and there were chairs with chessboards. And the seniors would sit there, and it was a little bit like a Brooklyn hustle. Because they'd sit there like, well, I don't know really what to do, but there was a little bowl, and people would come up and say, you play chess? And the senior would say, yeah, a little bit. Ha ha, wink. So he said, $5 a game. Let me tell you something, there were some of the best chess games there. Some of the best chess games. And a lot of guys walked out with a little bit of cash in their pocket, okay? It was fun, it was a community thing. And when the young kids would come out to challenge the seniors, sometimes the seniors would kick them back a couple of bucks. One of those kids was my son. He's always asking me for more money because he thought he was a chess king, you know? But it was a community space, and it was fun. could all hang out there and talk about things. Well, I looked at the plans that were approved. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not that bright, but where's the bookstore? Oh, no. Commissioner Sachs, there's no bookstore. They don't make any money. I said, I don't care if they make money or not. This area does not have one bookstore. Not one. Barnes and Noble's on the other side. We don't have any, right? We have libraries, but we don't have a bookstore. I said, tell you what, maybe you misprinted. So you get space, take out some of those retail places, and you make me a bookstore. Lori's help, your director's help, the fact that you're so many and you're so tough and strong, guess what? We're getting a bookstore. We're getting a bookstore. And if you want those chess tables, let me know. You might have to get a kickback, though, to the Alliance. But anyways, I'm always happy to serve you. And I hear you, and I appreciate you, and you're my family. And I appreciate all that you do for all of us. And thank you to Dr. Vineker and the Board of Directors here for making us powerful and strong. Thank you. God bless everybody. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Thank you for your update. Well, everybody, remember next month, really terrific meeting all about hurricane preparedness, which we haven't had for a couple of years now, and we will have the Emergency Operations Center here. The Planning, Zoning, and Building are here to answer any questions. And we will see you next month, and have a wonderful, wonderful season, holiday season. Another holiday season's up, Passover and Easter, and we will see you May, the first Wednesday in May.